Welcome to Try Not to Overthink It, where we explore the intricate landscape of mental health, well-being, and everyday life. I'm RJ.
I'm Unique.
Join us as we dive into insightful conversations, share expert perspectives, and personal stories that shed light on the various dimensions of mental wellness. Whether you're seeking guidance, inspiration, or a deeper understanding of the human mind, this podcast is your safe space to engage, learn, and navigate the journey to a happier, healthier self. If you're new to the channel, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification button. So today we are going to be talking about starting over in the new year. With the new year coming upon us, I thought it was important for us, well actually Khalil thought it was important for us to speak about this topic and unpack it. Because a lot of people, they go into the new year wanting to be a new version of themselves or start over fresh, and not everyone makes it to the end of the story the way that they envisioned it. So I think I agree with Khalil that it's important that we, as therapists and providers, that we sit down and unpack this topic today. So Khalil, you said what?
I don't recommend it.
You don't recommend
that one. Why?
So Khalil, start us off. What made you think about this topic?
Well, no, this is something that I think everybody goes through in the new year. It's like, well, what do I want to change? What do I want to achieve? What are these goals, right, that I have for myself in the new year? And one of the funniest things, and this is for me, this isn't for anybody else. This is just how, my higher power related to me. It's kind of like I could always choose to change. I don't have to wait for the new year. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're not changing it, that means you're choosing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I could have started doing this way before, January 1st. People say, oh, I want to go on a diet, right? Well, I'm going to start January 1st. Well, no, why don't you start now? People say, well, I want to spend more time with my spouse. I want to dedicate more time and treat my spouse better. Why don't you start right now? Why would we wait till January 1st, right? And so I think that's where the topic came from. It's like, hey, set realistic goals for yourself. You should start now. No, there's no other better time to start than now. Why are we putting off where we can start right now? And I think that's where I started to think about that. Some of the things that we need to change for the new year. Because the new year shouldn't be the only time. I was just telling somebody, right, during Christmas, right, that whole push from like the end of Thanksgiving, and this time Thanksgiving just rolled right into Christmas. I don't even believe because it was like the 28th was Thanksgiving, and then boom, next thing you know, it was Christmas. But if you notice,
time frame every year.
But it just seemed like it was fast. I felt
It's
I put the turkey leg down.
The global warming.
Presents. I don't know.
It is. It was
the global warming.
It was just
It's global warming.
I
I blame it on that. But look,
so
the funniest thing is I was talking to somebody and they were like, this is the time of year where people treat each other well and they're always so kind, and the Christmas spirit. I don't even know what spirit that is. Because it has nothing to do with my Lord and Savior. But anyway,
it's a giving spirit, Khalil. It does.
But it's a giving spirit.
It does have it.
So look, it's a giving spirit. But how come we don't have that spirit all year round?
People selfish, Khalil.
Why aren't we doing? Because you shouldn't have to wait till December 25th to give me something you've been wanting to give me. You should bless me when I come around the corner. If I want to give you something, I'll bless you as soon as I see you come around the corner. Hey, I had this for you. I'm not waiting for a certain date. And that's the same thing I have in my mind when it comes to changing behaviors or changing patterns of behavior that are negative, changing my lifestyle, my eating habits, all those things. Why are you waiting? Why wouldn't you change right now? I think
because people are in the pre-contemplative stage of change. I'm going to dip into your specialty.
Please do.
So people are in the pre-contemplative state of change, right? And in that phase of change, they don't even know that they have a problem. They're like, a problem? What's that? So you're talking about making a change, right? By the time they set the resolution, they're in the contemplative stage. They're like, maybe everybody else is not wrong. Maybe I'm the problem. Yeah.
Right.
And so then they decide to go ahead and
do some action.
Yep. Right? So they set the resolution, and then they are in the maintenance? Isn't it the maintenance phase?
I think we skipped a few, but it's okay.
I think we skipped a phase or two.
Right.
But anyway, they get to maintenance because they're actually doing it after the action, then they're doing it, and then they got a freaking relapse. They relapse, and then you know what? It sets them back, and they're like, I'm never making a goal again.
Look, forget this
I'm
dad.
never making a goal again. See, I knew it wasn't me because I tried this every year and it's just everybody else. So I'm not making an excuse for people not to set the goal. I think people should set goals. I think they should start today.
Yeah.
But before you can start a goal to accomplish something, you first have to identify the problem. And for some people, it takes a little while to do that. And I think that's why they're not successful, because they don't fully identify what's the problem. Spending time with your spouse. Maybe your schedules are too packed. So you might need to figure out, okay, yes, the goal is to spend more time with my spouse. But what does that time look like, right? Is that realistic for our lives right now? Like, what do we have going on that would pose a challenge to that being a actionable goal? You want to lose weight. Well, do you have any health challenges that might prevent you from losing weight? Let's see why your tail is big backed. Because
big back.
Right, you might have some health issues. You might got a little thyroid issue.
Yeah.
Okay?
True.
Put that out there, sprinkle a little thyroid in there. Gotta get your thyroid checked. You might not have been to the doctors for your once a year. So in January, before you set the diet, you know what? I'm gonna go get me a physical.
Right.
Get my annual done. January 1st, my brand new insurance, my brand new sparkly insurance, I'm using it to go get my physical. Just to get everything. Run a little blood, get a little blood test done, get my hormones checked. Get your hormones checked. Everybody, men and women, get your hormones checked.
Sure.
Okay? Get your hormones checked, and then you can say, you know what? Now I got to go see a nutritionist. Because it's not just that I'm fat. My tail is unhealthy. Boom. See? So it's not always just about starting the day. You gotta, before you just jump out there and start, you gotta do a little assessing. You know, what the heck is the problem here? Right? I told my client that. She wanted to save money. I said, well, before you want to just save money, anybody can just save money. But they also spend money. We gotta see what your issue is. Right. What is your mindset on money? How do you think about money? Well, I just gotta pay my bills. I said, You always gonna have bills because you're an adult. Okay? But what is your thoughts about the other money? I'm sure you buy coffee. I'm sure you buy lunch every now and again. So you have extra money.
Right.
You're just not thinking about it. I say, so now we have to make it a conscious thing. You got to think about it. How do you spend? What do you want? What do you want extra money for? What? People are like, I want extra money. For what? To just look at it? And if that's the case, then let's work from that angle. But we've got to establish the problem first. That's my 2 cents.
So I agree with what you're saying about the whole assessment piece. I think that it is very important that you reflect on your past, because if you don't reflect on your past, you're dooming yourself and you're setting yourself up to repeat it. Mm-hmm. By recognizing what went well, by recognizing what you were looking to accomplish, what went well, what didn't go well, you can then improve, sustain and improve the things that went well, and then improve on the things that didn't go well.
Yeah.
What most of us try to do is as Khalil said, we're waiting for the perfect opportunity to start something, which is why a lot of us, and the thing about it though is, like, for a lot of us, what a lot of us don't really understand is there's never going to be the perfect opportunity.
Right.
I got to wait for the first of the year. It's no different than when you see people coming back to church. Mm-hmm. I got to have all of these things together before I can come back before the Lord. And the Bible says, come as you are, not in the literal sense, but in the figurative sense of come as you are. And God will clean up everything else that's on you. He'll get everything up off you. He'll polish you up like a fresh new penny.
Well, the Bible doesn't say that. So there is a spiritual teaching.
Yeah.
It's a spiritual teaching.
Most of us do not. We're waiting on the most exact, perfect opportunity to restart and get us together.
Because everything else in our life works that way.
Nothing in our life works that way. Nothing works in our life works that way. Right. But I think that it is important that you, as a person, recognize and and I've said this on this podcast a couple times about giving yourself grace and mercy. Like for a lot of us, we are super critical of ourselves. We're super hard on ourselves. And then the moment that we fail, we're just like, you're just an idiot, or you're dumb, or that you're never going to get it together. And, by embracing, hey, like, Khalil said, you're coming into a new year, this is an opportunity for a clean slate. Embracing that clean slate, going into it with the mindset of whatever the hell happened over there, that shit's staying over there. I'm going to come into this with this mindset of, I have goals. And as Unique alluded to, having things planned out. When you're having things planned out, it's much easier to stick to a goal when you have things laid out and planned out. Most of us, and I struggled with this for a long time, was, I have a vision of what I want to do, but I ain't got no motherfucking plan of how I plan on accomplishing that vision. Right. I'm just out there freeballing, doing just hoping that it works,
touching stuff.
And like my little brother, he talks about living his life on blessings and hopes. Yeah. He says that every time he says that, I see my dad, like I could see it in his face every time my little brother says it. I could see my dad have some sort of stroke, a little bit, have like a small brain aneurysm every time my little brother says that. But you'd be surprised how many people move through life like that. And you were never
a wing and a prayer.
Yeah, you were never.
It's the same concept.
You were never gonna. The thing that people have to understand is, you were never gonna have true progress as long as you were just trying to survive through whatever you're dealing with. Yeah. And that's where, as I said before,
because you're gonna burn out. But you gotta just explain. You gotta unpack that a little bit, Roger Mel. Right. Because people are like, "I'm surviving. I'm a survivor. I ain't gonna give up." We got these millennials out here, okay, who grew up on Destiny's Child. Why is survival mode not the mode to just stay in? Because your tail's you gonna burn out.
Yes.
Okay. If you always surviving and never reach to thriving, you're just going to crash out. And people be wondering why they be crashing out and having like mood problems. Because your tail probably tired. You need a good nap.
Yeah. I mean,
you need a nap.
But see, you've spoken to that, several times on the podcast about relearning and unlearning bad habits. Yeah. For a lot of us, we have to going into something new. That means having a fresh mindset. Yeah. That means old habits got to stay old habits. They can't continue to be new things. You can't put new wine in old wine skins. You can't do that.
That's what the pastor preached about.
Yeah,
you can't do that. It just don't work.
Now you digging deep now.
Listen. Yeah, Roger Mel read his Bible today.
So out there.
For a lot of us, we try to do that. We try to move into new situations. With carrying the same baggage, the same luggage, the same problems from previous situations. You can't do that. It's imperative as providers. We tell our clients this all the time. It is imperative that you sit down and you unpack things, because it's much easier to lift a suitcase that's empty versus a suitcase that's full of stuff.
Right.
And for me, I always espouse to my clients about not focusing on the problems, because when you focus on problems, you will never be able to see the possibilities and the opportunities that are in front of you. Mm-hmm. We will focus on the problems and, oh my God, I'm 500 pounds.
You have to identify the problem. Identify the problem. Don't focus on it.
Don't focus on it.
Don't ruminate
this
on it.
Is the problem. All right, bet. That's the problem. Then what are we going to do about it?
And that's where, as I said, I think having a plan.
The funny thing that you talk about, right, it's not funny, but maybe like 3 years ago, my mom found out that she had diabetes. Right? It shocked us all, because what you guys don't know is I've been vegan for 30 years. So that was just wild. Like, how do you have diabetes? Type 2 diabetes that means your tail not doing something right. Mm-hmm. I have my theories. They're not medically proven. So I'm not going to share my theories on the internet today. But my mom got diagnosed with diabetes. This lady downward spiral before she was ready to do something, right? Mm-hmm. Oh my God. They said I'm going to go blind. They said I'm going to lose a limb. And she was just at her wit's end, because the doctor was like, yeah, you're diabetic. You got to live with it. It's just nothing you can do. Once she woke up, I think she had to take a nap. I'm telling you, taking a nap is imperative. if you hear some bad news, don't just like jump on it unless the law requires you to just do something immediately. If you have the ability to take a little nap, take a nap, okay? Then come back to it. Take a nap or do something else. The something else is really up to you, but I recommend the nap, okay? So she woke up and she was just like, okay, I gotta do something about this diabetes, right? But what we're talking about, she had to first assess where the issue was. So for my mom, it wasn't necessarily what she was eating, it was how she was eating, the type of food she was eating. And so she just restructured her whole diet and her lack of activity, right? She wasn't moving around as much as she used to. So before we knew it, my mom was like, I'm clean vegan. We're like, girl, vegan's already clean. What the heck? How else can you be cleaner? What are you planning to eat? Nothing? We already just eat barely. She was like, no, I don't, no saturated fats, no trans fats. We're like,
What are those even?
where did you find those things? Fast forward to, like I said, 3 years later. Now my mom is she doesn't have. They're like, her numbers are so low they can't say that she has diabetes, but because she's had it, right, that her levels got so high, she still has to be cautious, very cautious about what she eats, how she eats, if her sugar drops, because she can put herself back in crisis mode. This is why I was saying you can't live in survival mode.
Mm-hmm.
There was a time where my mom had to be very strict about her diet, very strict about her exercise. Now she has a little bit more flexibility and wiggle room, but she's still very cautious. Her change was reactive, right? So she couldn't wait till January 1st to decide, I gotta do something different. No, she had to make a decision that day. After she woke up, okay, she took a nap. After that nap, she was just like, I gotta lock in. So it was reactive. But had she dragged her feet, oh well, I'm gonna just take all of these medicines that they're saying for the rest of my life, and then decide, yeah, well, this is what they said, this is what I gotta do. She wouldn't be where she is now. She doesn't take any medication, nothing diabetes related.
Well,
She just has to eat
so your
healthy.
mom was proactive, right? Instead of reactive.
Well,
And
no,
that's what you just
she was reactive. She had to react because she had an incident, right? She didn't know.
right.
And
She didn't.
so her new way of life was a reaction to what she was told.
Mhm.
So I think it just gets a bad rep sometimes when people are like, "Oh, I'm reactive." But is your reactivity something? Are you making a conscious decision about how you're going to move, or are you just simply saying, "Well, this is what they said has to happen, or this is how I usually act in this situation, so I'm just going to take this." My mom's normal way would have just been to panic.
Right.
Okay? Panic and just have a come apart and cry. That's how my mom would have usually handled it. But she says, this is something that could kill me. And I want to be around a long time. Like, at the time, she didn't have any grandkids. So she's like, I want to be around to see my grandkids, to play with them, to live, right? My kids are relatively young. I want to see things. So I have to do something drastic if I want to see drastic results. So when we're talking about people wanting to start over again, I think it's important. Sometimes it has to just be a reactionary thing. Like, this happened in my life, I'm not going back. We have people on the show who've been in an abusive relationship. Sometimes you don't get the luxury of being proactive and saying, I'm just not choosing this person. Nah, I'm getting my head beat in. I'm leaving today.
Right.
Yeah.
That's just hasty.
Reactive. But
yes, it is hasty, but
reactive.
it's life-saving.
We're saying being proactive, meaning that, hey, I'm going to start putting things in motion, like Rajamal said. I'm going to start planning things out. I'm going to start setting some goals that are achievable, some measurable goals, some attainable goals, right? That's what we're saying. And yes, some of this might start because you reacted to something that happened, just like your mom. She was like, oh, wait, I'm going to have to change something. And she made a drastic change, but she was still proactive because she said, hey, I'm going to change this. I'm going to change that. I'm going to set some goals to move more. I need some movement in my life. I need to change how I'm eating. So all those things are then, from that first reaction, turned proactive. And that's where I want people to see the New Year's does not have to be, oh, I'm going to wait till this time and I'm just going to change everything. Like you all alluded to earlier, there has to be some assessment. We have to know what needs to be changed. We have to actually
incremental changes.
Yeah,
You can't
because you're
everything overnight.
You're not going to be able to be a brand new person. You're just not.
You can't handle that.
It's not realistic, or it's not feasible. And I think that for most of us, what we get caught up in is we have this romanticized ideal of what change is. We have a unrealistic and unobtainable depiction of what change is. We think that, we see social media influencers decide that they're going to go on this fitness journey and you see them lose 30, 40, 50, 60 pounds. Realistically, you don't know everything that they're doing. You just see the end results. You don't see the steady progression. You don't see the level up. Right. And for a lot of us,
coaching that goes into that, or exactly plastic surgery, because people are like, not plastic surgery, like, oh, well, all they did was get surgery, but you don't understand the recovery that it takes for that.
Yep.
Like the dramatic change that your body has to make for that. I was thinking about people who get like bariatric surgery and stuff like that. These individuals have to go to counseling before they even start something like that. Why? Because that is a drastic change that the brain now has to catch up with the body. Like, this thing is happening. I gotta kind of catch up to assess what's going on here and help you to survive it.
Because I work with a few people that have had, like the different weight loss surgeries, right? And for me, like when they sit down and they discuss, why they want to get the surgery, I want to be smaller. It's never, I want to be healthier. I want to make some lifestyle changes that are going to be concrete and long lasting forever and ever and ever and ever until the end. Nope. They're just like, I just want to be smaller because it's what they've seen on TV. We have this antiquated idea of what beauty is or what perfection looks like. And so when you go into, and I think it's very imperative that when you are looking at change, you are assessing why you want to make the change. Because why you want to make the change is just as important as what you're looking to change. So when you're going into trying to get smaller, again, are you going to make the proper lifestyle changes? Because if you're not, you hopped up on a table, got sliced up like some deli meat, and then you're gonna be having health complications or picking the weight back up because you haven't made the proper lifestyle changes because it never was in you in the first place. Right. And that brings me to my next point. Just as important as the reason why you want to make the change, the discipline to stay steadfast to the change has to be there as well for a lot of us. That, like I was telling Unique and Khalil before we started shooting, there's an actual day called National Quitters Day.
We're doing
the second Friday.
We're doing it together.
The second Friday of January, a lot of people start to peter off and wane off of their
quit.
Yeah, they wane off of their New Year's resolutions. The second Friday of January. And the thing about it though is
that's really soon. I mean, that's real quick. Hopeless. Like, my gosh, you just said it 2 weeks ago.
Right. And they were able to track all of this through the metrics. That are being captured from fitness apps.
Doing?
People on these fitness apps. You see people ramp up at the first of the year, and then next thing you know,
so what you're saying is don't use a fitness app to
right, because they track your analytics with that.
They're tracking you, baby.
The third week of January. Then
I wear my Fitbit all the time. They track all my steps.
Not to download fitness apps.
It do all of those things.
Download them the third week of January, friends. That's what we're learning here.
That's what we're learning to do.
We have to trick the apps. Okay. Oh my God. Algorithms against us.
But
they're making holidays based off of our lackadaisicalness.
Right. That is true. But that is the thing, National Quitters Day.
They're sabotaging us.
The thing about it though is, like, for a lot of us, we lack the discipline. We lack the discipline to stay, to stay invested in the change. The moment that it becomes inconvenient, the moment that it gets hard, it's not comfortable, it's not cool.
Plan for that.
You do.
When you make a good plan, you plan for fallout. Like, what are going to be my roadblocks? Well, this is what I tell my clients. when we are planning, because I do lifestyle therapy, so a lot of times we talk about real life stuff, right? I don't always just talk about severe mental illness.
Right.
Like, I have clients who want to be influencers and who just want, like I said, to save money, simple things. So I talk about what's going to be your biggest hindrance to doing this. They're like, well, why would we need to talk about that? I said, because that's real.
Mhm.
If we never talk about what's going to stop you, when it happens, you won't know how to overcome it.
Right.
Yep.
Barriers.
That's
Barriers.
important. Right.
Mhm.
Talk about your barriers. What is going to get in the way of you from reaching this? Plan for it. Okay? Any financial person will tell you to plan for, the risk that's associated with whatever you're investing in. What is the risk? Okay,
Right.
it's calculated. Let's make a calculated risk. You don't just go out there and like, I'm gonna just invest like all this money. You're like, why? Okay. Well, what happens if you lose all of it? Let's plan this out. It's the same thing with your goals. You gotta calculate, okay. So I want to get healthier. I want to lose a couple pounds. I want to restructure my diet. If you live with a spouse, a roommate, a family member, and all they bring in is Twinkies, you gotta get rid of them.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
All right.
Get rid of the family member. No, I'm kidding.
Well, no, but Unique, you always talk about it. You don't be afraid to set some boundaries now, because
you just got to, I can't eat that. Stop bringing that in this
stop
house.
bringing that in my house.
Put that in your room. Don't put that in the pantry, because when it's in the pantry, it's tempting.
Temptation, right?
Okay? And I just can't have it. I do not have the willpower yet to abstain.
But see, now what you just talk about, right? We'll put it in the substance abuse. We'll put it in that frame of mind, right? Most people don't want to admit that they have that type of problem, right? That they can't not be around it. They cannot look at it. I would talk to alcoholics and I'd be like, hey, the next time you go to a restaurant, why don't you try to order your food at a regular seat, not up by the booth, not up by the bar. Do it in the middle of the restaurant. Get it far away from the bar as you can. Well, I can see. I don't have a problem with that. I can go up there and see that. And then next thing you know, they tell you a story. Say, yeah, it looked mighty tempting the last time I was at those top table booths by the bar. I seen everybody drinking, and I wanted to drink. They can't admit that. You know what I mean? It's hard for them to admit that. But the same thing with the food, right? If I like cookies, I like cakes, I like all them pies. If somebody brings all that stuff into my house, I'm eventually want to eat it. It's temptation.
No, you're going to eat it. That's the thing. You're going to.
Yeah.
You're not tempted by things that you don't like.
Exactly. That's why they're called temptations.
Exactly.
Nobody is tempted by things that they hate. You're tempted by things you actually like and like it a lot.
And it's not until you aren't supposed to be having something that you realize that you want it even more.
You want it even more.
But
I don't want to charge my phone. My phone be dead and dying. Okay, stays on like 10% until my lights go out, and I'm like, God, like can't even charge my phone.
But see,
they're dying.
You guys brought up a very valid point, and that is having a support system.
Mm-hmm.
The people that you surround yourself with should be invested in you hitting your goals. It should be just as important to them as it is to you.
Right.
Because
top in your hand, like, hey, it's not for your goal.
Because they're gonna hold you accountable.
Oh, yeah.
They're gonna empower and they're gonna inspire you to stay on track and to do the things necessary to not trip yourself up. Because for most things in life, it's you versus you. Life is an individual sport. It is literally an individual sport. Now, there are some things that people can assist you with, but most things you go through in life, you battle and you deal with by yourself. Yeah, and 98%. So when it comes to making things, accomplishing things like changes and seeing changes be long lasting in your life, you have to stay focused. You have to stay dedicated. You have to stay invested. You have to stay motivated to continue to stay on this path. Because as Khalil alluded to, it's and I had this conversation with my clients all the time about recovery. Recovery is an everyday thing. Mm-hmm. It's not just, because I discharged from the program, hallelujah, praise Jesus, I'm recovered. No, you are in recovery every single day.
You haven't even started yet. I just wish somebody would just bust that little bubble. You haven't started recovery just yet.
You are in a controlled environment, so you're not having to deal with the temptations. You're not having to deal with bad
Yeah.
habits resurfacing. You're not having to deal with bad influences
The
popping
big
back
wide
up.
world.
You're not you're going from a controlled environment where we control everything for you
Mhm.
to going back out into the wild where now you are in control. Now you have to start making better
Yeah.
decisions.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that is where having people who are around you and who can encourage you and inspire you and empower you to every day you wake up when that alarm clock goes off and you swing both your legs out the bed, you are making concrete, consistent, and concerted decisions that are
Yep.
aligned with the goals that you are trying to accomplish
Yep.
for yourself
Yeah.
every single day. It is the, and it's crazy how, the thing, what we're talking about overlaps into all our specialties.
Yeah, because you can. It does. It's just, it has to, right? In order for you to live life, I think addiction gets such a bad rep because people are like, oh my God, it's unsavory.
Right.
That's how people treat it, right? When
They
you
do.
have an
They do.
addiction.
Did we have to do it in that voice?
Yes, because when
she's
you
telling
have an
the truth.
addiction, people be like, they act like you're just some strange thing, right? Something so dirty.
we had to do it in the Karen voice.
We had to,
But
because
these are
that's
the
how you
same
treat
people
it.
that have their addictions, right?
Right.
Some people
So
are
the
shopping
thing is,
addicts, food addicts,
some people are just mean. They're just nice.
mean
They're
addicts,
just mean
right?
addicts. You're just addicted to being mean.
Mean.
Okay.
Yeah, being
You
nasty.
can't. You just don't want to be. You don't want to be kind-hearted.
Right.
It would kill them. Okay. They would just breathe. I don't know what would happen. I want to see it. But I think if we took some of the principles that, and I think because all of us really didn't you do substance abuse for a minute too, Raja?
Mhm.
I think we all did. If you're not a good therapist if you never worked in substance abuse.
Yeah,
I'm
if
gonna
you
say
never
it. I'm
worked
gonna
in
say it.
substance
Okay.
abuse, right.
You didn't go to work. Okay. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know what your training was, but I'm gonna say it here first. If you didn't work addiction at one point as a therapist, are you really a therapist? Ask your therapist. If you have a therapist, you just gotta ask them, have you worked with anyone who has an addiction?
We don't want people to take it personally, but it's the truth because that is
Have you
really
ever
have
worked
to
with
work.
addictions? Because
Yeah, you really have
if
to
you
work.
ain't worked with addictions, you might not be able to help me. Because really, when you work with a person who has addiction, it's really about changing the mindset.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
If I only focus on whatever your drug of choice, and it might not be a substance, right? Whatever the thing is that just has you by the go.
Unhealthy relationships, people are hooked on those.
I like the nads. If it just has you by the nads, hey, okay. If I focus on that, Rajamel said it earlier, then I'll never get to the point where we can actually assess how to get out of it. I tell people, drugs are not your problem. Sex is not your problem. Okay? Spending money is not your issue. It's something else in the background. And we need to figure out what's in the background that's setting the scene for that to be how you cope with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you cope.
That's how you cope
with whatever your issues are. Let's figure out what the issue is, and we can find you some new ways to cope. Okay? Because you always want to need a way to cope with it. Because whatever it is probably a lifestyle thing. And that's why it fits into all of our stuff. That's why people say, well, how are you a lifestyle therapist? That's not even a real thing. It is, because people live every day.
Mm-hmm.
You live every day. Now, how you live, it might show up a little different from other people's.
Right.
Okay? You might have a couple extra things. And maybe voices sometimes. Coaching you along this thing called life.
No, but we talked about it earlier.
I have. Y'all know that's my population. I didn't work with the ones that had the voices.
But we talked about it earlier. There's a large percentage of the population, right? And not just African Americans or minorities, but a large percentage of the population that live in crisis mode. They live in survival mode. And that needs a lifestyle change. It's scary.
Americans be living in
American
survival
people.
mode.
I've met plenty of people who are living paycheck to paycheck. Sometimes, like you all said, they go out on a wing and a prayer, right? They like you said, your brother was talking about hopes and prayers, right? But they will step out of the house with that mind state, though. Unique. That's what's so scary. They will step out of the house They don't have a proper plan on how certain things are going to get paid,
They don't.
how the children are going to eat. They might have some resources where they'll call a family member or call another one. But if that family member doesn't
So
have
they're
it that
selling
week,
toes on the internet. They're selling toes on the internet. Toe
right.
picks.
Listen,
I'm so dead.
Look,
You said they
am I
selling
lying?
toe picks.
Am I
Listen.
lying? Am I lying?
no,
Commercials on my Instagram. Come on.
look, people are out there doing whatever they can to survive, but that's not life. That means you're not thriving.
Don't
right?
tell that to the girlies who, getting through college and they using any means to do it.
Well, I'm
Don't
cool.
tell that to those girls.
Listen, I'm cool with people who are getting at how they live, right? And you're out there, you found a hustle, whatever. I don't care if it's OnlyFans, right? I'm cool. But what are you going to do if that doesn't work, right? What are you going to do
Another
if some
hustle.
right? But we need to set ourselves up for longevity and to be able to sustain something, right? So
You
that's
can't be a
what
hustler
scares me
forever.
about people who live like that. That's so
Well, listen, I ain't never been a hustler in the sense of trading goods under the radar of the government. I ain't never been one of them type of hustlers. But if I had to do a case study on hustling, because I didn't have my fair share of hustlers in my life, sit in my chair, sit across from me in the chair.
Mhm.
And the one common thread is just as fast as you get it, you gotta get rid of it.
Right.
Yep.
Even if it's a product, you can't hold on to it. So hustling is not sustainable. It's a quick game, right? You can't be a hustler your whole life. At some point, you gotta end up being the kingpin.
Mhm.
You gotta be the top dog.
There's no retiring from hustling. There's no 401k plan.
At some point, you gotta be the top dog. You have to be the one who gets to call the shot. Because if you just stay like at the low end, like you said, there's just no lasting reward for that.
Mhm.
What's it, Pablo Escobar? People hate on Pablo. People hate on Pablo Escobar. But Pablo was set. Pablo had houses, cars, land.
Different
Pablo thought he was
businesses.
God on earth.
Different
Okay?
businesses.
Different business. Pablo's family is probably still living well off of that. Pablo's books is probably paid in jail. He don't need commissary. He is the commissary. Okay? But you know what? Pablo wasn't no more a hustler. He had a hustler's mindset. That helped him get to where he was. But he realized in order for this to be sustainable, I can't keep hustling. I can't keep doing the small thing. Right? So people are like, oh, I'm a hustle. I'm gonna get it how I live it. I'm gonna get it till I die. And you always gonna be chasing it.
Right.
You gotta figure out how to keep it.
Well, look, I don't want to be the person entertaining on OnlyFans. I want to own OnlyFans. You know what I'm saying?
Or at least a share. I don't know if you want to own it. You're a Christian man. I don't know if you're gonna own.
I'm just saying. I'm saying for the people out there who are hustling and they make a few mil here and there.
But they lose a few mil too. You gotta keep the mills.
The issue that you guys are both talking about is people. The reason that a lot of people choose the lifestyle that they choose, because it boils down to choices. Like, we got to stop trying to pretend like people don't make choices. People make a concerted choice.
They do.
The thing about it though is, people choose to be comfortable. Stepping out and doing.
Say it one more time. Say it one more time.
People choose to be comfortable. When you change, there's a release of what you know, what you're comfortable, what you're used to, and nobody wants to struggle, and that's the problem. That's the problem. I mean, when you look at people like 50 Cent, where he had that first studio album, Get Rich or Die Trying. I mean, that's a prime example of what happens when you are willing to put all your eggs in one basket and just go for the thing. But
what you're saying is he was an entrepreneur?
Yeah, he was an entrepreneur. He was an entrepreneur, but he had a thought process. Either I'm gonna get rich or I'm gonna die trying. And what people have to realize is it is. I mean, what people have to realize is no matter how much things suck and how much things hurt you right now, when you look back and you realize that every struggle that you went through, it's going to change your life for the better. For a lot of us, we are afraid of the struggle. We are afraid of the growth and the elevation because it's new. It's not a known quantity to us. And like you said, it might hurt. And for me, as I started to grow and grow and mature in life and in my walk with God, what I had to realize is you can't be afraid to try something new.
No.
Life gets very boring. It gets very stale. It gets very dry when you stay on the same path that you already know.
Well, we have already said, if you're not growing, you're dying.
Yeah, this is exactly what you're doing. You're dying. I mean, and for a lot of us, we refuse to change, which is why National Quitters Day always happens. Because for a lot of us, hey, getting up every day and going to work out. Like I have this conversation with some of my coworkers. Like we just took a test in November, a fitness test in November. And they're like, sir, like you look like you wasn't really trying. I said, because I wasn't. And they were like, how did you get in shape? Because I get up every morning at the same time and I put in the work because for me, I like money. And if passing this fitness test is going to allow me to continue to make money, I'm going to do the things necessary because my overall goal is to make money. I don't do this because I love it. I don't do this because I got nothing else to do. This is just a hobby for me. I like making money. And because I like making money, I can't stand in my own way. I can't be a barrier for me making money. So there are things that I'm willing to do. The reason I'm where I'm at is because I'm willing to do things that other people aren't willing to do.
But that's the story of anybody who has great achievement, right? And it's not about, I don't even think the focus should be on what other people aren't willing. I'm here because other people aren't willing. That's just a fact of the matter, right? But I'm doing things because, like you said, I just want it. If there are options for me not to do it, I always like to think, oh, well, this person has that, this person has that. And I say, well, why not me?
Right.
Why can't I have, what are they doing that I'm not, that stops me from having it? And I do that. Okay. Well, I'm just going to do that. That they have it, I'm going to do it. The scariest thing for me was leaving corporate America. I think it was, 2 years, almost 3 years ago? It'll be 3 years in January.
Oh, wow.
That was scary. Okay? Scariest decision of my life. It was 2 years since I left completely. Because I did a soft quit. Okay? I soft quit corporate America. I didn't just balls to the wall.
You still work part-time, basically.
Yeah, I did. No, for sure I did. I worked at some companies part-time, and then I had my own private practice.
Right.
And the guy was just quit. I was like, what? I did. What are you talking about?
She was hearing voices, y'all. She was hearing voices.
All of it. I did. I heard a clear voice. And that one was not mine. I keep telling y'all, if the voices are yours, you might be safe.
Yeah.
If the voice is someone else's and it's telling you harmful things, come talk to one of us.
Right.
We got to get you some meds. But no, God really just impressed me to just leave the other jobs. But I was afraid because I didn't know how much it would hurt. And not physically, but it was going to hurt financially. I was like, can we afford this? I don't know what it's going to look like. I remember losing my job where I was making a very comfortable salary. Ooh, it was nice. And I was I lost that job. I was like, what am I going to do? What the heck? What is life going to look like? And so I remember having a conversation with my husband because I wanted to quit, but he was just I don't know. So when he told me just quit, it was he had just pulled the rug from under me. Some people probably thought that would feel like relief, but it didn't. It felt like a panic because it was well, now what are we going to do? He was just just do it. Just see what's out there. I did.
Step out on
He was
faith.
Unique. You said, Unique, you've done everything but own the company. You've worked every position in mental health. The only thing you haven't done is own your own. And I was just yeah, you're right, but am I ready for that?
Fear.
And I wasn't. The answer was no, I was not ready. But I think sometimes people think they're going to be ready. I wasn't ready. I didn't know things. I still learned. I lost tons of money opening up my own practice. Money that if I were to put the number up there, it's cry worthy.
Mhm.
Right.
It's a salary, cry worthy. But those lessons helped me to now, almost 3 years in business. If somebody were to offer me a job, which they have, there's nowhere in the world that I would be able to go back into corporate America and just be like, yep, this is my life now.
Right.
No,
Right.
I couldn't fathom it. Not because I think corporate America is just a pit. I don't. I think for everybody. So I mean, somebody's gonna work somewhere. I hope people want to work in my company.
Right.
But it's just not what God has called for me to do. But it was uncomfortable. It was scary. It was definitely life changing. It was life altering. It still is. It's still things that I'm just like, oh wow, I have to grow. I gotta change again. I gotta like step out of my comfort zone again.
Right.
Yep.
Well, look, Unique, you spoke to, stepping out of your comfort zone, being comfortable, being uncomfortable, right? That fear, all those things that we do. And therapists try to push that, right, on people. Hey, we know it's going to be scary, but think about what's going to happen if you don't change, right? What are some of the consequences if you don't change? I remember doing that with clients in substance abuse, right? Like, I know it's scary, right? We got to lose these coping skills. We got to lose what we're comfortable doing, right? What's
what's
the
it
other
costing you to
alternative,
keep it?
right?
Yeah.
Right. To be
Mhm.
stuck. For Unique, I'm going through that now, right? The corporate America thing, I really don't like working for other people. And I've been blessed. I've been able to contract a little bit, and I've been able to do my own thing. And it feels good to be able to do things at my own pace, to see the people I would like to see, to build rapport with people. But I remember being scared to jump out and do something like that, right? Because I was like, man, this is a steady paycheck. Corporate America's paying me. You know what I'm saying? I like getting that steady paycheck. I like getting the insurance. I don't want to be without, right? That lack. And a pastor talked to me about that before. I'll never forget it. He was like, people want because they think they lack, right? But a human being does not lack anything. We have everything we need, and even if you are somewhat, incapable of doing certain things, or your IQ is below a 70, I've seen people still be successful who are mentally challenged. I've seen them be successful.
Success looks different to everybody.
To everybody.
We want success to look like it's this picture, right? Like, oh, it looks like this. But success could look like all of the stuff up here on my wall.
Right. It's such a wide spectrum, right? And so when I worked at the mental health center, I saw people have jobs, be productive, get their own apartments, right? And some of these people, like I said, weren't the smartest people in the world, right? And they were able to do these things. Then I had to sit there and look at myself. Well, why can't I do something different? Right? Why can't I step out there? I've seen other people being unable to do that, right?
Yeah.
And I have good resources. I have good support. Why aren't I doing it? Well, fear. You know what I mean? I had to really look at myself like, why are you scared? What's the other alternative?
Fear and a lack of investment in yourself.
Self, right?
You at some point in time have to be willing to gamble on yourself.
But that's scary.
And I get that, and I agree, it is scary. But the thing is, scared money don't make no money.
That's
and
true.
If you're living your life scared, you're living your life surviving, you will never truly thrive and be the best version of yourself.
Yeah.
There is no matter what and that infuriates me when I have that conversation with people outside of treatment.
Right.
There is nothing in life that you do that you are trying to be great at that you will not have to sacrifice something. That is the difference between being LeBron James versus being the 12th man on the bench or somebody that's on the practice squad. When you are LeBron James, you get paid LeBron James money. You get to make LeBron James decisions. You get to be what is he, like a billionaire?
Pretty sure.
You're making all of this money because there's sacrifices and there's things that you're willing to do to be great. That's the difference
LeBron
between
was willing to leave freaking Cleveland. He loved Cleveland.
Right.
Twice. Remember that? Because people like they criticize him. I will never criticize that man because he was willing to leave the team that he so freaking loves. If you know nothing else about LeBron, you know that he's from Cleveland and he loves Cleveland.
Right. Well,
okay.
He's from Akron, I believe.
But I'm saying, like, he reps all their teams. Like,
that's their team.
He probably likes the Browns. For
Yeah.
crying out loud.
I hope that he doesn't.
He
Ohio.
probably does. He
I
probably
hope that
has
he
money
doesn't.
invested in the
I
Broncos.
hope that he doesn't.
But
But the thing
LeBron,
is, he was willing
if
to
you watch our
sacrifice.
podcast, maybe that's not a dig, LeBron.
But
Okay, I don't
but
know
he
if
was
LeBron
willing to
watches this, but that's not
sacrifice
a dig. But he sacrificed.
and
This
leave
man
where
went
he
to
was
South
comfortable.
Beach.
I
He
think
was
I read
comfortable in
somewhere
Ohio.
that
He left that.
he spends $1 million each offseason on recovery and recuperation for his body.
Right.
You know,
Listen,
I guarantee you,
as he should.
I guarantee you, he doesn't see that as a loss. He sees that as an investment into prolonging his NBA career and reaching new levels and new accolades and new honors that other people couldn't dream to be able to do.
His maintenance bill, if his recovery is $1 million, can you imagine how much like his monthly maintenance bill is?
Oh yeah.
You know how like ladies have maintenance bills, like they get their lashes and nails and stuff done?
Yeah.
Could you imagine what his monthly maintenance bill is? Like how much his massages are, his cryotherapy. I'd love to just be a person who receives some of that check. I'm pretty sure it's hefty.
He's got some really good specialists.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure
he's probably got the best that money can afford him. And the thing is, you know, he doesn't look at it as a loss. He looks at it as an investment. And as I tell people all the time,
look at his kids, like the money that he spends and invests in his family, right? Because people don't even think about that. Oh yeah, it's just the money that he invests in himself. No, you look at his wife, you look at his kids. Those people are well kept because he understands that that's a representation of him. If my home ain't right, I'm going out there and play.
Right.
I got problems at home. Right? My family's not looking right. People say, oh, well, what's the son that just came into the NBA with them?
Yeah,
Bronny.
That's Junior.
Bronny. Well, I didn't know that. I didn't want to mix him up with the other son.
Mm-mm.
So people look at him, oh, yeah, that's just because he's LeBron. No, because that man invested in that young man. Right? Mm-hmm. LeBron invested in him. He said, oh, nah, I'm putting my eggs in this basket. He going to do something. He going to be something. Right? Mm-hmm. So, like you said, it wasn't a loss. He just said, this is what he's interested in. If his son was interested in badminton, I'm probably sure he would have really put his ducks in a row and said, nah, you're going to be the best badminton player that there is.
Right.
Right? I'm getting a court put up at home. I'm getting you like custom racket, custom, I forget what they call it. I played racquetball in college. They had the little bayonets. I think that's what they're called.
Oh.
He would have had like custom ones, right? Because the investment, you got to invest in the things that you want to see. What's the goal? I want you to excel.
Right.
You look at Serena Williams, right? I think it's easy to look at athletes because we see the end result with them.
Mm-hmm.
Athletes and entertainers, we see the end result. But we don't always see the investment that it took to get them there.
The sacrifice.
Beyonce's parents. Beyonce would not have been Beyonce without Tina and Beyonce's daddy. That's a shame. I don't know.
Matthew.
Tina and Matt. Okay, Tina and Matt.
They put a lot of time in those girls. Even Kelly Solange, and the ones that were there before. Put a lot of
all of them parents. They put money.
Money and
look at what Beyonce is doing for her daughter now, Blue Ivy.
Yeah.
Blue Ivy's like probably money that she gets put in. Blue Ivy's getting money spent on her. Yes, she's making money. But Jay-Z and Beyonce spend a grip to make sure Blue Ivy is set. And I'm pretty sure their other kids get the same amount of poured in. Like they're poured. We don't know what their talents are yet. But I'm pretty sure they get the same level of investment. Hey, and I mean, like I said, it's easier to look at celebrities because we just see their whole life on Front Street.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But if we were to look at our parents, the investments that they did, Troy and Charlotte, maybe sacrificed.
Yeah.
Okay? Sacrificed for this girl.
Yeah.
That's why my heart is shit. They're going to always have my heart because they sacrificed. Now, being a parent, I wish, and this is for you new parents, people who are pregnant, the girls and boys who about to be new, you want to spend some cash on them kids. Okay? You're going to spend a bag.
Invest.
Get your coins ready now. because you're going to spend. If nobody ever told you, you heard it here first. I'm trying not to overthink it. You're going to spend. It might not always be your money, but you are going to spend a lot of it. Okay?
And it's an investment that keeps on giving.
It is an investment. I mean, P has contributed to some of the gray hair up here. She denies it. Said, P, I didn't have this much gray hair in the front until I met you. But here we are. And I will tell you the investments. So that's what my mom always called. She said, you guys are our investment. Mm-hmm. The things that my husband and I are putting in for P. We can send her to any school. We choose specific schools. We choose specific church, specific friends, just specific people. Our supports look a specific way because we are investing into the lifestyle that we want. I've already chosen camps for P by the time she's 16. My mom was like, my family's on board because P has decided what she wants to do with her life, and I'm going to tiger mom it. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to spend the check. Is it costly? Yeah, it will be costly because it's one of them type of camps. But
right.
If this is going to help my child to be the best version of herself and to reach the height that she has set, nothing's too expensive. I'm going to do it.
Right. Well, RJ was just talking about investing in yourself, right? Investing in your child is like investing in yourself.
Oh, it is.
Right? My mom.
Because when she makes it, I'm her mama.
Right. Hey, look.
I'm Kris Jenner.
Listen.
She said, I'm her
Tina
mama.
Knowles. I'm Tina Knowles. I'm Kris Jenner. Like, I'm the mom.
I'm the mom. Right. So look, think about it, right? Even you brought up Kris Jenner, right? Think about all the things Kris had to do for her children, right? They grew up in reality TV. Now they all have their own businesses. So even though she invested all that, it's coming back triple and double.
Kris could write
tenfold
on being a momager.
Tenfold.
I don't know what nobody has to say about them girls, them Kardashians and them Jenners.
The Jenners?
Yeah. Kris Jenner, whatever her last name is now, because it might not be Jenner, but Kris, hats off to that woman.
Right.
Because Kris saw something and she said, this what I want for my family. And Kris aggressively went after that thing.
Right.
She did not stop at loss of husbands.
Right.
She lost 2 now.
2, yeah.
Right? We didn't see Kris go from different marriages, like a public loss of 2 of her. Both of her husbands were like public losses. Mm-hmm. She didn't get to do none of that in private. Right? Seeing her kids go through all of their struggles, Kris had a focus. Kris, and I might gotta do a little Google search. Kris Gibbs, she came from humble beginnings. But Kris came from a blue collar family. You can't tell me her dad wasn't.
I wouldn't.
You can't tell me Kris Jenner's daddy wasn't a mechanic.
Right.
Okay? Right. And her mama didn't do some housework. You can't tell me that because the hustle that she has, right, that drive that Kris has.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like a rich person.
Baby, that's not, I've been rich my whole life.
Right. It didn't seem like that.
Kris has the drive that says, we ain't always had this, but baby, we're going to keep it for the rest of we here now and we here to stay.
But that's why the investment is important in your kids. You know,
absolutely.
Because I remember my mom spending thousands to keep me out of jail, to try to just get me in the right type of programs and this and that, right? And it's paid off. But at the same time, now I can give back. I can spend time with her. I can do the things that I need to do.
Now with your kids, I wouldn't have been there. You understand that investment.
I understand.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't have been there for her. I know I'd be still running the streets doing some crazy stuff. So
Chad, be dead. Let's call them up. If our parents had not invested in us, we would be dead. Just simply because kids do crazy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Agreed.
Kids, they don't mean any harm by it. The stuff that P gets in trouble for, I just bang my head against the wall. I just want to some days. Because I'm like, I'm tired of you getting in trouble for this. Are you tired of getting in trouble for this? Because this just makes no sense now. God. And I'm sure my parents wanted to bang their heads against the wall, like, are we back here? So
again?
Like, we just did this. I'm tired of even getting you in trouble for this, but I have to. If our parents did not invest in us, if our communities did not invest in us, right, we would have literally died. Mm-hmm. You think of babies. If a parent does not give a kid milk. Milk costs, whether it's coming from your body or from a store shelf. It's costly because you got to eat to produce breast milk. Okay? It's expensive and it's time consuming.
Mm-hmm.
If you did not invest in kids, they would die. And that's not even all of them doing nothing dumb. You mix the dumb stuff in there that kids do, like jump off of stuff. Like, dang, do you have the death wish? I think all babies come with a little death wish.
Oh my goodness.
Am I lying though?
So
Nah.
Am I lying? Kids will put aluminum in your microwave to are you trying to kill us?
Yeah, they don't think before they do
They
certain
don't think. So they don't know. They just don't know that this is gonna off me.
So Unique, we're saying for this program, right? For the New Year's, RJ,
Cancel it.
Unique,
Cancel
I know
it.
we're running out of time.
Too dangerous.
We are investing in others, right? And we're also investing in ourselves for this new year.
Investing in the futures.
Investing in the future. Gotcha.
Yeah. Because if not, like I said, you're dooming yourself
Spin a
to
check.
repeat it. You're dooming
That's what
yourself
we're
to
telling
repeat it. If you
Rack
are
up
not
the debt.
if you are not investing in yourself, if you're not investing in your future, if you're not investing in yourself being the best version of yourself or the people around you being the best version of yourself, you are dooming yourself and them to repeat past traumas, past hurts, past poor decisions. You know, because again, like Unique said, if you're not growing, you're dying, and you are dooming yourself to dying at that point. You know, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, you are dooming yourself to dying.
I don't want to die in none of the leaves.
Nah, I don't want to die in any type of way until it's time for me to get called to glory.
I'm gonna die all at once. Okay,
Yep.
I'm not gonna die slowly.
So we're gonna end the conversation here. This is Try Not to Overthink and signing out. I'm RJ.
I'm Unique.
I'm Khalil.
If you like what you saw, we ask that you like, share, subscribe, turn your notifications on because you don't want to miss any episodes. Drop content weekly. We drop mindfulness minutes on the channel as well every day. If you would like to support us even more, we have a TikTok and a Instagram where we drop mindfulness minutes and shorts from the episode on. So please make sure that you follow us and subscribe to us there. Oh my gosh, I'm not entertaining you.
You got the cash app.
The links will be down in the description. If you would prefer to listen to us instead of watch us, I don't know why you would, because we are some very good looking people. We can be found on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, Audible, pretty much anywhere you can get your audio files, we can be located. But this is us signing out, and we will catch you guys next time. Peace.